Welcome to the Concerned Parents of Young Athletes podcast, where we dismantle the confusion and provide the facts on structural management, a system designed to prevent injuries, understand the unique structures of every young athlete, provide effective treatments, all based on structure, science, and common sense. Episode 8, Who is Dr. Tim Maggs? Well, hi, I'm Dr. Tim Maggs, and let's get started. It's important for me to be able to present this podcast because what I'm asking parents to do is entrust me with the most prized product they have in their life, their child. And I have the ultimate respect for that relationship and for your child. As a father of four, I know the role of the parent. I know the emotions of the parent. And I've been doing this now for 47 years, so I have dealt with the dynamics of families for 47 years, and I absolutely love it. But I want you to know who I am because I've never really given my background, because in saying that we have a better way, it has to be based on something. It has to be based on experience, and it has to be based on data. And so I'm telling you, the Concerned Parents of Young Athletes program is the finest program, probably internationally. I've never heard of another program dedicated to young athletes that has been around for 25 years, that has collected massive data, and has proven that it is far more effective than the ineffective, inefficient sports medicine program that we have out there today. Because keep in mind, your children are governed by health insurance guidelines. And even though youth sports has massively exploded over the last 10 years, what hasn't kept pace is advances in sports medicine and injury prevention. That's why we're here. So let me tell you a little bit about myself, if you would. I have been in practice 47 years. I had the opportunity, 1994 to 1998, to work with Coach Al Miller in the New York Giants strength department. And it was a life-altering experience. But it really was the start of this program, because what I realized is that you had multi-million-dollar players who were predominantly being treated after they were injured. There wasn't a lot of treatment prior to. And it really alerted me that the prevention program had a lot of room to grow. I spent a lot of time in the Chicago Bulls locker room with Coach Al Vermeil, who is a wonderful individual, and wonderful of him to let me come into that locker room and be a part of their whole system. And again, what I learned was incredible. Here is a book that was written years ago, More Fire, How to Run the Kenyan Way. And you might ask, well, why are you showing us a book when you're talking about yourself? Back in 1993, I met the Kenyan in the middle of Bill Rogers and another American runner there. And I had the opportunity to establish a relationship with Joseph Zhao. Joseph was a three-time Kenyan Olympian. He and I developed a running program that we called Team Stick. And it started in upstate New York, and it was totally unthinkable at the time that anyone would do that. People asked, why are Kenyans in upstate New York? So there was a little comedy. But again, it was the start of a life-altering program. And the book, More Fire, The History of Kenyan Running, even has a section on Dr. Tim Maggs in the first USA Kenyan running camp. Well, this has turned out to be more than a running camp. It has been a running team for 31 years. And we have a history of just jaw-dropping events and human performance and injury prevention, and it's just been wonderful. So I've had my hand in a team that I've had for 31 years of Kenyan runners. And a couple quick stories. The picture to the left of the three runners, the two with the Team Stick jerseys on, are Josphat Machuca and Thomas Osano, running with another Kenyan from another team. And this was the Cherry Blossom in 1994, and the three runners that day broke the world record for 10 miles. The picture to the right is John Cogway, and John won the New York City Marathon in 1997 and 1998. Here we have a picture of multiple Kenyan runners, but in this picture, this was taken in 1994, we have 3 Kenyans who in different years were ranked number 1 in the world, 1993, 1994, and 1996, and they were all on our team. In 2012, we changed the name of the team from Team Stick to a more relevant name, Team CPOYA, which is the Concerned Parents of Young Athletes, in an effort to ensure that we would be able to get this name out there for name recognition. And we have. So we now have our camp in Nairobi, which each year has a couple dozen runners as part of the program. They race internationally. Every now and then we have them come to the U.S. to race here. Here you can see myself with the team. To my left, in the first picture on the left, is Coach John Mwathiga, who has been my coach for 31 years. This meeting was in Denver several years ago. He had never been to the U.S., and I flew to Denver to meet with him face-to-face for the first time, and it was like family. I mean, it was just an incredibly emotional meeting. And we have Charles and Grace, and on a picture to the right is my picture of Grace, who came to the U.S. in 2012 now and still runs for us and lives in Boulder, Colorado. And the left picture is Grace in the 2021 New York City Marathon, came in 9th place. And to the right is the 2023 California International Marathon, and she came in 1st place. And you can see she's proudly wearing the CPOYA singlet. Here we have the team back in Kenya, and here we have other members of the team on a different day, just generic photos. But what's really exciting is we have a youth program in Kenya, and not only are we getting them on the right track for running, but we're also doing everything we can from here to assist in injury prevention. But it is very exciting, and the hopes are one of these days, one of these young athletes will be a gold medal winner in the Olympics or New York City Marathon or Boston Marathon. But the experience I've gained in being involved with Kenyan runners for 31 years is unlike any other experience that I've had. In addition, in the last 6 years, we have published 8 peer-reviewed published studies in medical journals on biomechanics. And I don't know of anyone else, or I don't know of any other organization that has collected and amassed as much data as we have and actually gotten that information published. And as I say, the information that is in these papers will change how you take care of yourself. It is not just information, it is direction, it is guidance on what we need to do as athletes. All of these are available at drtimmags.com. Here, I am so proud, Dr. Alex Sozos is an orthopedic surgeon in Greece. He specializes in hip replacements. And then Dr. Steve Brownstein, who is a medical radiologist in New York City. These are my 2 co-authors for these 8 papers. So the relationship we developed is incredible. The information should be sports medicine altering because it presents a whole new system of how to prevent injuries. Now let's talk about analytics, the most important term in sports. And the slide I'm going to show you is to show you that our pro sports, our college sports, our high school sports are missing biomechanics. And here is my proof. If you look at biomechanical-analytics.com, if you look at orthopedic-analytics.com, I own those websites because I am the leader in biomechanics in the entire industry. And not only the leader, but the current sports medicine industry is absent of any knowledge of biomechanics. It's a very reactive entity and approach. And so we're out there trying to change that. Our research proved that there are 5 biomechanically imbalanced structures. We've developed the testing and we've developed the corrective process for each of these 5. But the key is you have to know where each athlete is starting from to know what to do. If you look at Jason Tatum, Aaron Rodgers, Tyrese Halliburton, um, George Kittle this past weekend, tears in the Achilles, all begin with these imbalanced structures. That changes the weight distribution in the lower extremities so it's imbalanced. And then there's an accumulation of stresses, there's collapse of the feet, and that Achilles cannot tolerate the stresses. And the straw that breaks the camel's back is the torn Achilles, which now, for the San Francisco 49ers, they lost George Kittle, a key member, and it could dramatically and probably will dramatically change the outcome of their football season. Tyrese Halliburton, in the fourth quarter of their championship game against the Oklahoma Thunder, he hit 3 3-pointers. They were gaining momentum. They were in the game when he went down with a torn Achilles, and it ended at that moment. So today is the day we start to prevent those injuries. I developed the structural management program, a program that says we have to address the structure. We've developed all of the testing, the interpretation of those tests, the recommendations for those tests. One of the key tests is the structural fingerprint exam, which we now have done well over 10,000 of these exams. Each exam includes 4 standing biomechanical x-rays, and again, the leading biomechanical examination in the industry. 25 years ago, we developed the Concerned Parents of Young Athletes program, and now we lead the industry in understanding how kids grow and understanding how to prevent these injuries. I've had over 400 published articles in magazines across the country for 15 years. I was a sports medicine columnist for many running magazines, and I've written in many, many magazines, so we have so much information that has been out there forever. I did my own in-house study of 118 youth athletes, and what I wanted to do was I wanted to see how many of them had level hips and how many of them had unlevel hips. Level hips is 3 millimeters and below. So of 118 young athletes, 46 of them had 3 millimeters or below, which means 72 of them had above 3 millimeters, which means they're imbalanced. And all of these are with orthotics. We found 43 of these young athletes were above 5 millimeters. We learned that 12 of these athletes were above 10 millimeters. We learned that one athlete was above 20 millimeters. So you can see that that is the most important measurement in the human body, and it changes over time. I am, to date, the best that I know of, the only chiropractor that has an office in a middle school and a high school, Christian Brothers Academy in upstate New York. I've been their director of sports biomechanics since 2012, and here we are on the website. We provide 5 critical areas of service. So we have a trainer that I call the ambulance, and then I'm in the back taking care of these young athletes biomechanically. And of course, it's only the parents who want their children involved, because most parents still don't understand the importance. Each year we're making more and more headway, and the goal is for the school to make it a mandatory examination for their 500 to 600 students. So we're making progress. I'm very excited for that. But here are a few pictures from the training room. That was a Wednesday morning I went in, and those were my first 4 patients that day. They have orthotics. They were all on once-a-week treatment programs. Here you have a couple athletes being treated, lasered. Here you have 3 tables where I have 3 athletes undergoing treatment. We had them lasered, and I'm adjusting one of them. And here we had, the before and after. So if you look at the purple sweaters, the young chunky guy to the far right, that was 5th grade. And then here he is in 12th grade graduating, and just a tremendous young man under my care that entire time. So the stories, are enormous. Here we have Dr. Terry Yoakum, and the reason I have his picture is I had the distinct honor of lecturing with Terry over a 9-year period. He and I traveled the country 55 times giving seminars. So I kind of had a front row seat to learning what he taught. And what did he teach? The books to the right are the radiology, the x-ray books that are used by every chiropractic school in the world, and Terry's the author of those books. So he is, if not one of the top radiologists in the chiropractic profession. So I had a front row seat to learn from him 55 times, not to mention the fact he was on speed dial, and the fact that we x-ray every young athlete that comes in. There were continual questions. So what I learned from my experience with him cannot even be measured. It was, again, it allowed me to be put into a position in life that very few, if any, other chiropractors or physicians could be put into, because x-ray is kind of not looked at as an important tool for the evaluation and understanding of athletes. I'm saying it's the most important tool, and I've proven it time and again. We also I have the largest database of biomechanical x-rays for the middle and high school athlete of anyone in the world. And that's because for the last 25 years, we've taken 4 x-rays on each athlete, and there's information on each of the 4 x-rays that can alter the future if the family and if the patient wants and is willing to do what they can do. Many do, some don't. But we still have the largest database, which now gives me the opportunity to say that I am the leading authority on biomechanical x-rays for the middle and high school athlete, at least in the country. We've expanded this now to professional sports. In 2020, you can see me in the upper right-hand corner at the press conference being introduced as the new owner of the Albany Patroons. The Albany Patroons are the most storied minor league team in history because so many people in the NBA went through the organization to get to the NBA. Most notably was Coach Phil Jackson, who won his first professional championship as the head coach of the Albany Patroons. So now at the press conference, my whole message was that I can do a better job than traditional sports medicine. My role is I'm going to prove that structural management will give fewer injuries than the traditional sports medicine program that is out there. I said that the only way I could control the locker room and govern the protocols is to own a team, because although chiropractors are with many teams out there, they're kind of over in a corner adjusting athletes who want an adjustment or treating an athlete that's not responding to traditional means. By no means are they examining and governing the care of this athlete. Well, I said from the day the athlete arrives to the locker room, to the program, we need to begin with the x-rays and the orthotics and the lifts and the chiropractic care, spinal decompression, cold laser therapy, and additional that is needed. Because COVID stopped our season 9 games into the season, although we had no injuries in 9 games, we were not able to confidently say, "See, I told you so." However, by the time we got back in 23, we were able to show our program from the first day of camp to the last day of the season 4 months later. So every player went through the exam, x-rays, orthotics, lifts, and at the end of the season, there were 32 games, 11 players, 1 player missed 2 games. Our 6th paper published, it details the entire season 2023 of the Albany Patroons. These numbers are unprecedented in pro sports, and these numbers will be the backbone of me trying to introduce our injury prevention department to pro and college sports rooms. So that's kind of what I've been through. And my mission now, as I move on in life, is to help change the paradigm that cares for our young athletes. Dr. Bennett Amalu did that with his concussion protocols. He went up against the NFL and he beat them, and now every school, every organization has concussion protocols. Concussion protocols are from here up. My program is from here down. and it's all prevention protocols. So we're going to need the help from coaches, parents, athletes, administrators, but we can change this and we can get docs all across the country providing these examinations and providing these treatments to show that we are willing to invest in the future of our young athletes and to ensure that they have the best life that they can have. We know too much to not do that. So, thank you for joining me. Be well. Please share this podcast with any families or with any youth athletes that you know, and I will look forward to seeing you next time.